The Twilight Forest is one of the OG mods for Minecraft that adds a new, magical themed dimension filled with unique biomes, structures, mobs, and bosses. So, let's begin. To begin your journey in the Twilight, the portal must be constructed. This portal is relatively easy to construct. Simply dig out 4 blocks of dirt in the ground and fill them with water. Then place natural blocks such as flowers or mushrooms around the portal, and finally toss in a diamond into the water and the portal will open. Once you enter the portal, you will land in a randomized location in the beautiful Twilight dimension. You will notice some passive creatures wandering around the forest at first glance. These animals are the bighorn sheep, the dwarf rabbit, forest raven, squirrel, tiny bird, wild boar, wild deer, and penguins can be found on top of glaciers. There are also some minor structures and points of interest scattered around miscellaneously. Regular Minecraft ores also generate in the Twilight, so you can get some gear to begin with if it's required. It's recommended to create a temporary base at this point, and your first order of business should be to find the ingredients to create a magic map that will show you the layout of the Twilight and where each boss structure is. The map is crafted using 8 paper and a magic map focus. The magic map focus is crafted using 1 glowstone dust, 1 raven's feather, and 1 torchberry. Torchberries can be found growing in shallow caves everywhere in the Twilight, and you will need to kill a raven for its feather. The boss structures will become visible on the map as the player gets near them. The bosses in the dimension are based on a progression system, so the player must defeat them in the progression order and use their trophy to unlock the next boss area, which will have either an area protection field around the structure or a biome protection field around the entire biome, forbidding the player to enter unless the previous boss has been defeated and the trophy pedestal activated. There are also some structures that are not part of the progression scattered around the map. These structures can contain some nice loot and also offer some advancements. Hedge mazes are composed of hedge walls, often featuring multiple pathways that might lead to different sections. Within the maze are rooms containing some chests, however the maze is full of traps, cave spiders, skeletons, and aggressive wolves. Hollow hills are conspicuous mounds of dirt that conceal a vast hollow cave packed with stalactites and stalagmites, some of which are formed with precious ores and minerals. They come in small, medium, and large. Small hills contain basic minerals such as coal, iron, redstone, and glowstone, and some chests containing common items such as tools and arrows. Swarm spiders, red-cap goblins, and kobolds inhabit these structures, as well as vanilla monsters. Medium hills are larger, also containing gold, lapis, diamond, and emerald. About 6 chests can usually be found containing iron wood ingots and transformation powder, along with some unique artifacts such as Moonworm Queen, the Peacock Feather Fan, and the Uncrafting Table. Fire beetles and red-cap sappers also live in medium hills. Large hills are the largest version, and every type of ore can be found in these caverns. There are up to 12 treasure chests containing most valuable treasures such as diamond and steel leaf. Dangerous monsters such as twilight wraiths, witches, slime beetles, and pinch beetles can be found here. You may find castles made of giant mushroom blocks when exploring dense mushroom forests. These castles are mushroom castles and stand tall over the biome. They have no entrances and nothing in them. They are perfect places to store stuff as no mobs will spawn there and there is no boss to conquer. Situated in the rare enchanted forest biomes, the Quest Grove is an ancient stone structure with weathered and aged arches that serves as the home of the questing ram. Giving all 16 colors of wool, which can be obtained by shearing the bighorn sheep in the dimension or other methods to the ram, will see the player rewarded with a bundle filled with the questing ram trophy and several resource blocks, one of gold, iron, copper, coal, lapis, emerald, and diamond, as well as the unique crumble horn artifact. The first boss in the progression system is the Naga. The Naga is a serpent that lurks in a Naga courtyard. It appears as an immense green snake-like creature with a human face. The Naga will destroy any scenery it runs into, and in combat it moves extremely quickly, circling its target before making several charge attacks. It is also advised to bring a shield, as timing a block when it charges headfirst into you will knock both of you back and stun the Naga for a moment, making it immobile with stars around its head. As you fight the Naga, it will begin to lose segments, which drift loose and disappear. As it loses segments, the Naga will begin to move faster and faster. The Naga is bound to its courtyard and will lose interest in targets outside of it. It is protected from any attacks coming from outside the courtyard. The Naga will begin to heal if not attacked for a short time. The Naga will drop about 6 to 12 Naga scales, which can be used to make Naga scale armor, as well as a decorative Naga trophy. Standing tall over the Twilight Twilight Forest canopy, Lich Towers are the layers of the Twilight Lich. Once the Naga has been defeated, as long as the player is carrying some of the scales, they may enter the tower. Zombies, skeletons, swarm spiders, and death tomes must be fought and destroyed on the climb to the top. Spawners are usually situated in the center tower, causing an endless stream of creatures to overwhelm anyone who invades the tower until they can be destroyed up close. The Twilight Lich itself is the final challenge at the very top of the tower, within a vast glass-bottomed chamber with even more paintings and torches on the walls, along with an impressive chandelier hanging from the vaulted ceiling. The Twilight Lich appears as a tall humanoid skeleton wearing a purple cape and a large golden crown. Surrounding itself is a wall of shields to protect it from any damage. In its first phase, the Twilight Lich summons shadowy, invincible duplicates. The Lich itself is protected by a rotating ring of shields. Both the Twilight Lich and the duplicates will fire blue-green projectiles that look like ender pearls. The projectiles can be deflected with a properly timed swing, similar to deflecting a ghast's fireballs. During the first phase, the Twilight Lich can be seen holding a Twilight Scepter. Every time the player reflects the Lich's projectiles back at it, it will remove one of its shields. It is highly advised to avoid deflecting projectiles if they are fireballs, as they will explode on touch, doing a serious amount of damage. Its second phase begins when the Lich's shields are depleted, allowing the player to deal direct damage to the Lich. During this phase, the Lich switches to using a zombie scepter, using it to summon an army of loyal zombies to attack the player. Occasionally, the Lich will switch to a scepter of life draining, using it to heal itself while removing the nearby undead mobs. In its third phase, when the Lich runs out of zombies to summon, it will attack the player hand to hand with a golden sword and emit rage particles. The Lich can also teleport directly to the player. The Twilight Lich drops an array of golden armor and a golden sword, all strongly enchanted with seemingly random enchantments. The Lich drops exactly one scepter, either the Twilight Scepter, the Scepter of Life Training, the Zombie Scepter, or the Scepter of Fortification. Finally, the Lich drops around 1 to 4 ender pearls, several bones, and the highly decorative Twilight Lich trophy. Defeating the Lich will fully complete the beginning phase of progression, removing the protections over the Twilight Swamp, Dark Forest, and Snowy Forest, allowing access to the structures within. Next in the progression order, sunk deep into the earth beneath the Twilight Swamp, are the shadowy, twisting labyrinths. These underground layers are built in 2 levels, each a complex maze. Access into the top level can always be gained with a small shaft that has been built into a hill. The entire complex is constructed of maze stone, an extremely hard material that makes breaking through the maze a time-consuming and tiring process. Minotaurs are the signature creatures to be found in the labyrinth, but they do share the twisting corridors with others, such as scuttling fire beetles, slime beetles, and pinch beetles, cave spiders, and maze slimes. They can contain a valuable charm of keeping. The Minotaurs can on occasion drop a maze map focus, and they can also be found in loot chests. Combining these with 8 paper will grant a maze map, making it much easier to navigate the labyrinth. There are also many other valuable items to be found in chests scattered throughout the extensive structure, including ironwood and steel leaf armor. After exploring all the way to the bottom of the labyrinth, the Minoshroom can be found lurking in its prison. The Minoshroom is a bizarre hybrid between a mushroom and a minotaur. The Minoshroom is extremely tough to kill, and it protects a valuable treasure trove. Once this creature sees you, it will start rampaging similarly to a minotaur. It will break the barricade to attack you. The Minoshroom can do a great amount of damage, so it is advised to be careful while battling the creature. Shields are completely useless here, as they can be disabled by its axe. Killing a Minoshroom will get you the highly rewarding Diamond Minotaur axe. This axe does bonus damage when a player is sprinting. Minoshrooms will also drop 2 to 5 bowls of meat stroganoff. Eating meat stroganoff will progress the swamp phase, thus removing the protections over the fire swamp, now allowing access to the Hydra. Resembling a large hollow hill, the Hydra layer looms out of the flat swamplands, providing a natural lair for the multi-headed Hydra at the heart of the fire swamp. The Hydra appears as a massive creature with 2 stumpy legs supporting a wide, scaly body. Multiple serpentine necks end in heads that bear a passing resemblance to that of the Ender Dragon. The entire creature is covered in blue-green and dark blue scales. The Hydra has 3 main attacks. All of its attacks come with ample warning individually, but multiple heads will often attack at the same time. The Hydra's thick scales offer considerable protection, and many of an adventurer's attacks will deal little damage unless aimed directly into one of the Hydra's unprotected open mouths, making a ranged weapon highly effective when in combat with the Hydra. Hydra. If one of the heads receives enough damage, it will die. Consequently, 2 heads will quickly grow back to replace every head lost to a maximum of 7 heads, and letting out a frightening roar as the heads reform. The Hydra starts with 3 heads, so plan accordingly. This can prove difficult if the Hydra is left alone, as it will slowly heal if no damage is taken for extended periods of time. The Hydra's signature attack is a fire breath that will inflict damage and light targets on fire. Heads about to attack with mortars will raise up and emit smoke from their mouth. The Hydra spits 3 mortars at a time, which on contact will detonate immediately or after a short time on the ground. If a target gets too close, the Hydra will use its bite attack and deal significant damage. Enchantments that inflict fire damage are useful in this encounter as they prevent the Hydra's regeneration from kicking in. Upon being slain, the Hydra drops several dozen Hydra chops, an extremely nourishing and satiating food item that also gives regeneration for a short time. Also included are several doses of the Hydra's fiery blood, which can be combined with iron ingots to make powerful weapons and armor. Finally, there is a Hydra trophy item which is highly decorative and prestigious. The Goblin Knight strongholds rest amongst the unnaturally dense canopy of the Dark Forest. They can be difficult to spot amongst the darkness with little remaining above ground apart from broken walls and cracked bricks. Beneath the surface, however, is a vast complex of rooms and hallways and tombs. The entrance is protected by a shield that is immune to all damage. The player must place a trophy of one of the slain bosses pictured on the pedestal onto it to unlock the structure. Goblins are the main inhabitants of these strongholds. Block and chain goblins deal a surprising amount of damage for their size. Goblins riding on each other's shoulders are called goblin knights, and helmet crabs are small creatures with diamond hard shells. Loot chests in these structures can contain really good prizes such as knight metal ingots and knightly armor, as well as charms of keeping and charms of life. The night phantoms reside in a brick layered room in the Goblin Knight stronghold. They appear as ghostly pieces of phantom armor and appear to have a spooky, ghost-like look when attacking. If they are wielding a knight metal sword, they will charge towards the adventurer slowly but accurately and can deal massive damage. If they are wielding a knight metal axe, they will throw their weapon in a straight line at the adventurer, which deals significant damage and can quickly wilt away health. If they are wielding a knight metal pickaxe, they will throw their weapon in a line but in 5 different directions and not aiming at the adventurer, which deals some damage but it's easily avoided. Once you kill all 6 of the Night Phantoms, a treasure chest will drop the Knight's Phantom gear, such as Night Metal weapons, Phantom armor, and the Night Phantom trophy. Defeating the Night Phantoms will progress the Dark Forest phase, thus removing the protections over the Dark Forest center, now allowing access to the ghast and its tower. Rising ominously over the Dark Forest are the awe-inspiring Dark Towers. These immense constructions contain all manner of unique rooms, obstacles, treasure, and monsters to explore and fight on the epic journey to the top. They are generally found at the very heart of a Dark Forest. Carmenite ghast guards roam the exterior of the tower, attacking anyone outside, while Carmenite Ghastlings patrol the interior. Carmenite Golems, similar in aspect to Iron Golems, can be found inside also. Carmenite Broodlings have also made their nests in the tower, and Towerwood Borers can be found in the walls of the tower itself. A typical Dark Tower may have several shafts above the main structure anchored into the ground, only reachable by climbing up into the smaller turrets. Once inside, there are technological devices and all manner of rooms with various functions, all linked together by small passages and blocks that respond to touch, serving as doors between the various chambers. Vanishing blocks disappear upon being activated, while reappearing blocks will return to their physical form after a few seconds. Upon reaching the base of the tower, there are usually several entrances into small antechambers. These can be entered via the reappearing doors into an entrance hall with a staircase leading up. The smaller towers encountered higher up the tower normally come with a central chamber, with 4 doors leading to auxiliary turrets at each cardinal direction. Some rooms may contain a chest with loot, including the essential tower keys. Usually, access to the upper floors is secured by the locked doors. 4 tower keys are required to unlock the door and open the way forward. Just above the reactor rooms is the top of the tower, and those who have battled their way to the top must be prepared for the horrifying, anguished ghast. The ghast is much larger and much more deadly than a regular nether ghast. It's advisable to use a ranged weapon in this fight, as the ghast can be quite difficult to hit. The ghast's main and signature attack will shoot 3 fireballs at once. Deflecting these fireballs is possible, however it is dangerous to do so because only 1 fireball is likely to be deflected, while the rest of them will explode on the player. The ghast has a special ability to summon Carmenite Ghastlings with a lightning strike. These minions will spawn out of the ghast traps. When the ghast reaches half of its total health, it will begin a tantrum mode. It will change the weather to rain and keep on summoning minions. During this mode, the ghast will not attack the player and only make loud wails and cry ghast tears. If the player is under the ghast while it's crying, the player will get hurt if hit by a tear. Once an adventurer slays a ghast, a treasure chest will appear in the middle of the battle area. This chest will contain several doses of the ghast's fiery tears, as well as a few pieces of Carmenite. Inside the chest will also contain the highly rewarding ghast trophy. Nestled among the hills and fir trees of the snowy forest, the Yeti cave appears as a square-shaped hill. 4 entrances allow access to the ice-covered insides, where packed ice hangs from stalactites and covers the floor. Many fierce Yetis make their home in these frigid caves, lorded over by an Alpha Yeti. The fearsome Alpha Yeti is much larger than the rest of the Yetis in its pack. It has 6 large blue horns and is constantly aggressive towards players. As its first form of offense, the Alpha Yeti throws giant ice blocks towards the player. When they land, the ice blocks form a freezing field around the impact zone for a few seconds. Standing near or moving into the freezing field will slow and damage the player. While throwing ice blocks, the Alpha Yeti deflects all ranged attacks. Sometimes, standing too close to the Alpha Yeti will cause the player to get caught and thrown, similar to how a Yeti would attack. This attack does not deal direct damage, but fall damage is very likely. In its second attack mode, the Alpha Yeti jumps up and down rapidly. It will hit and knock back anything close to it while executing this maneuver. More dangerously, the jumping causes large ice blocks to dislodge from the ceiling above. A shower of snowflakes will warn careful players when an ice block is about to land. The jumping lasts for about 20 seconds, after which the Alpha Yeti is briefly tired, and after a short break, it will resume throwing ice blocks. Defeating the Alpha Yeti will be rewarded with some Alpha Yeti fur and ice bombs, as well as the Alpha Yeti trophy. This will progress the snowy forest phase, thus removing the protections over the glacier, now allowing access to the Snow Queen and its Aurora Palace. Standing over the desolate glaciers, the Aurora Palace is a striking sight in the Twilight Forest, with its walls constantly shifting in a variety of colors reaching into the sky. The overall structure of the palace consists of multiple tall towers interconnected by small doorways at varying levels within the chambers. While some rooms can be reached by simply walking up, others are built so that jumping, mining, and block placement are required to reach further up. Icy enemies patrol the dim halls and walkways. Most common are stable ice cores, which have a distinctive halo of icy spikes and launch magical snowballs at intruders. Unstable ice cores, instead, charge in close, inflicting damage with their sharp spikes. They present an additional danger by violently exploding upon death. Also found are Snow Guardians, magical animus, clad in armor formed of materials found elsewhere in the Twilight Forest. The most valuable treasures are often found in the dead-end chambers, with unique enchanted items such as the fragile but deadly glass sword. The Snow Queen is found in an ice-encrusted room near the top of the Aurora Palace. She is perhaps the most human-like creature encountered in the Twilight Forest, resembling a woman but with large violet eyes and pale blue skin. She is immediately hostile towards any intruders in the vicinity, launching quickly into one of 3 main attack patterns. Her usual first attack is summoning a half-dozen large animated snowflakes. The snowflakes move slowly towards their target, dealing 5 damage on contact. The second attack sees her using Flying Sled as a weapon. She moves to a position above her target and then slams the sled downwards, usually breaking through a floor level or 2 in the process. She may try this attack several times in a row. Her third form of attack is Ice Magic. She flies low enough to be on the same level as an opponent and then launches a spray of damaging snowflakes ahead of her. This Ice Magic is extremely damaging. The Snow Queen has a few treasures, dropping either the Tri-Bow or the Seeker Bow, as well as a Snow Queen trophy. She also drops some packed ice and snowballs. Once the player defeats the Hydra, the ghast, and the Snow Queen, the toxic acid rain sweeping across the mountains will be lifted and allow entrance into the Highlands biome. Beneath the Twilight Highlands, the Troll Caves are a natural cave system with a few distinct features. The tunnels are wider than other caverns, with distinctive troll sign blocks dotting the walls and troll vidire vines hanging from the ceiling in many places. Ores can be found here, just like other caves, with more valuable materials deeper into the cave network. Unsurprisingly, trolls can be found in abundance here, who can lay an adventurer low with their powerful attacks in seconds. Scattered throughout the caverns are square formations of obsidian, referred to as vaults. These contain a chest with some treasures in it. The treasure chests found in vaults have been found to contain food and tools, Some magic beans can be found as well. These enchanted beans are the key to reaching the clouds that float above the highlands. Planting these into some uberous soil on the surface will cause a huge beanstalk to sprout, which can be climbed to reach the cloud cottages that float over the highlands. There are giant trees and a cottage along with some giant inhabitants. The cottage is very mundane looking, formed from giant cobblestone with a giant log roof. The next task is to fight and kill a giant carrying a giant's pickaxe. Once the giant's pickaxe is acquired, the player must return down to the troll caves where the giant obsidian vault is and use the pickaxe to open it. The lamp of cinders within will allow the explorer to burn a path through the Thornlands, gaining access to the final plateau at the top of the mountains. The final castle is a large structure that spawns in the final plateau. It is mostly comprised of white castle bricks of a few different variants. Some castle bricks are engraved with different colored runes and covered with force fields. Unfortunately, this is where our journey ends. Although this mod is over 10 years old, this structure is still a work in progress and contains no boss or progression. There are some mobs in the castle without any complete AI. The player may explore and defeat bosses multiple times to experience more of this mod if they wish, but for now, there is no complete ending to the mod's progression. Hopefully someday we will see that final boss. That will do it for the Twilight Forest. The mod is available in the description. Thank you so much for watching and take care.